My father used to say, "Watch this man."
He's been cited by IGN, The Quartering, Timcast, The Daily Wire, Bounding Into Comics, and even Dr. Jordan B. Peterson.
As the insider WDW Pro recently speculated on.
Time and time again, he's broken big entertainment news live on the air.
I've been following WDW Pro and his track record for years. If you want to find out what's on the horizon for theme parks, Pro is where you go.
Let's check in on Rian Johnson's new trilogy.
Okay.
I bypassed the compressor.
What did you do, Ray? Son of a... That's gonna leave a mark.
Now, he was okay, after 6-7 weeks. Okay? They get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Yeah. I hate it.
It's the standard, what would George do?
I don't want you here.
So sorry, George, I didn't think it would go like this.
Fly, you fools.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Weird. Stay away from liquor, kids.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Cowabunga!
Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
The Force will be with you. Always.
That's how winning is done.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
That's what she said.
I am Batman.
If I won tonight, I would come home and we'd celebrate. Well, I'm coming home, we're celebrating. God bless you all.
Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lighting at the Magic Kingdom will dim for the performance of the Pro Show. We hope you enjoy and have a magical, truthful time. For the safety of others, please, no flash photography. And welcome to Provision 3D.
Alrighty, everyone, put on your comfy glasses. Oh boy,
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
You know that you've been taught the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yes, Paul.
Autobots, roll out.
I'm bringing the party to you.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money?
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
We're gonna do it!
Alright, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man!
Are you okay?
They'll never take
of freedom!
From the redwoods of California to the hills of Tennessee to the Rockies in the Sunshine State and Maine with that bright and shining sea. From coast to coast in North America, it's time for your host with the most, bringing you all the entertainment news that should be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show! Hello, folks. Howdy, how are you? Welcome back to the Pro Show, and we have not done this in a while, Jonas. Cobwebs on the keyboard. Cobwebs on the keyboard, I say.
That's right. That's right. We're like SM33 over here.
If you don't get the reference, you haven't watched Skeleton Crew yet, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to turn Ryan Griffin from gray to green. We need help. I've already sent 5 gifted memberships. It did not connect. William Thompson has done his best. It did not connect. We need help, folks. We need Ryan Griffin's name to go from gray to green. Send us some more gifted memberships. We may match you, but we're going to try and get Ryan what he needs. By the way, 150 of you right now on the YouTube and about 100 more on X. That brings us to about 250 total as we start the show. And yes, we will have more panels as we grow and grow, but it's just you and I to begin, Jonas. And I wonder, have you recuperated from all the live streaming we've already done today?
What? Are we done? Have we been done?
Yeah, that's a good point.
No. I mean, it's live streaming is fun. It's just taking care of the other things that can't happen while you're live streaming. You know, I could be doing fun things like doing my taxes or making jokes about Wilton, or I don't know, watching good Star Wars, you know,
polishing your lava lamps, all of them. Thank you, Master of Puppets. Master of Puppets is out there trying to gift a membership to Ryan. And Jefferson C. Post, I am sure, is very pleased to receive that membership. But we're still working to get Ryan turned from gray to green. We also want to say hi to Valiant Renegade. Saw that Valiant is tuning in. Valiant, you're welcome to join us on the panel if you so choose. We're going to have more than just Skeleton Crew to cover today. And we're going to be getting underway with, this, folks, out of that Park Place. We'll start in just a moment. But, Jonas, before we do, we need to get to the Super Chats. So let's bring the Super Chats up, and then we'll get to the bad news for Disney. It's sad news, really, for Star Wars, but we'll go there in just a moment.
All righty, then. First of all, we want to say thank you to WDW Pro for gifting 5 WDW Pro memberships. Then, as mentioned before, Master of Puppets gifted 1 WDW Pro membership. Thank you very much, Master of Puppets. And the man of the hour here, the man who is, I don't want to say he's all hat and cattle. William Thompson gifted 20 WDW Pro memberships and then gifted 10 more. So if I'm not mistaken, if my math is not mistaken here, that's 30 WDW Pro memberships in just 6 minutes.
And I tell you, William, that is so kind. I cannot believe that we have still not got Ryan from gray to green. I promise I have no control of this as we top 300 out there in the audience. But you know what, William? I tell you what, William, for being so kind and trying to help others out, William, we're gonna get in touch with you. I'm gonna gift you about 3 to 6 months. We'll have to figure out what Patreon will allow, but I'm going to gift you a level 2 membership on Patreon, William, for being so kind, because you were just flat out generous. Nobody said, "Hey, William, you got to do this." You just took it upon yourself, and we're gonna give you a reward back. And because, by the way, every show I show up on, Jonas, William's out there supporting him like crazy. So we're gonna support William right on back.
He's a solid dude.
He's a solid, I'm telling you. And I hear solid muscular as well. Buff all over. Shoulders of steel, baby.
Well, all right. Well, Samuel Maine with a $2 super chat. Great episode. I give it all 3 a 10.
A mustache that would make would make somebody with a mustache jealous. Tom Selleck. That's what I was trying to think of. A mustache that would make Tom Selleck jealous.
And Samuel Maine also gifted 1 WDW Pro membership. Thank you very much, Samuel Maine.
That William Thompson can take a punch better than Harrison Ford. He's got a round kick that makes Chuck Norris cry. No, we don't go that far. I don't want to get Chuck on the outside. Maybe roundhouse kick.
I think I was about to make a Hook reference. That's how confusing this show is.
Yeah, you know, it's confusifying. All right, folks, let's not get too confused right now. Folks out there enjoying the Tom Selleck reference. And Ryan, don't you go anywhere. Ryan, you stay right here in this show. We're to keep these gifted memberships going until we get you, buddy.
Are we sure that Ryan Griffin has gifted memberships turned on?
Ryan, if we are doing a giant slew of gifted memberships for you, and you don't have those gifted memberships turned on, you are in trouble, Ryan. Let's see who this goes to. We love all of you, by the way. We want all of you to get these. But we're trying to help Ryan out. All right, I've gifted 5 more. Still no luck for Ryan, but folks, the lottery will have to pay off soon. And absolutely. All right, let's hit the topic, and then we'll come back to Super Chats in just a few. All right, here's what we've got out of That Park Place, folks. It's by Marvin Montanero, and it says Star Wars Skeleton Crew viewership, FLOPS. That's an acronym for flops, unable to break into top 10 streaming hits. And this is really bad news for Star Wars. So this is the opposite of the Moana effect. And what I mean by that is that Moana 2 is a terrible movie. In fact, the story of it's a 2 out of 10. I gave it a 4 out of 10 because the visuals are wonderful and the voice actors are doing the best they can. But story-wise, terrible.
I still haven't watched this one. And I think I have the opportunity to go see it tomorrow with my family at it's already in it's not quite a dollar theater.
I mean, it's not going to offend you, but you're going to be bored out of your mind.
No, I like good animation, so I think it is probably going to offend me.
Bored out of your gourd. So Moana 2 is a bad movie, but Moana 2 had tremendous first 5-day viewership and ticket sales because of the goodwill earned from Moana 1. Now, here we are with Skeleton Crew. And Skeleton Crew is getting no views. Last week, I gave the first 2 episodes an 8 out of 10. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to give this one because, well, that's what we're here for, right? We'll review it in a few. We're waiting for the other panelists. Poor Lorne. Lorne is running over there on the Disney Plus ad tier, so he's having to suffer through all the commercials as well. Skeleton Crew is coming into this with all of the bad baggage of Star Wars.
A bad batch of baggage.
A bad batch of baggage. So Skeleton Crew, no matter how it does, in terms of its quality, the quantity of people who are going to watch it is going to be way down. While many viewers voiced critical approval for the new Star Wars spin-off show Skeleton Crew on Disney+, the show's viewership didn't reflect those glowing reviews. It failed to crack Luminate's, Jonas, top 10 streaming originals for the week of November 29th to December 5th. And Luminate continues to be so fast and Nielsen so slow that it's got to be driving Nielsen nutty. All right, out of streaming originals. So, folks, what you need to know about this is not the top 10 for streaming. It might look like it's the top 10 for streaming, but it's not. This is just originals. This is just TV originals. So these are the shows that the streaming services paid to have made for streaming. And they've never been on before. They're originals. Originales. And if we look at the top 10 here of this subcategory, again, not the top 10 for streaming, this subcategory, we've got The Madness from Netflix, top spot, Landman on Paramount Plus, Cold Case, Lioness, A Man on the Inside, Cross on Prime Video, Tulsa King, Lioness, again, a different season, The Later Daters, and Day of the Jackal. Day of the freaking Jackal out of Peacock is beating Skeleton Crew. So how does that happen? A legacy of losing under Kathleen Kennedy. It has caused Star Wars to no longer have any draw whatsoever. And anybody who claims that Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars has had success in the last decade, they're utterly wrong because this proves it. Even in a subcategory, the debut of a new series, they wiped out any interest with The Acolyte. They killed any interest with Boba Fett. Nobody wants to be here anymore to watch Star Wars. So it doesn't matter how good it's going to be. And it might be good, but at least it's somewhat of a turnaround. At least it's somewhat. By the way, Jonas, let's take a look. It says, this outcome spells trouble. TRUBBLE for Disney and Lucasfilm. An exclusive report from the Valiant Renegade YouTube channel revealed that Disney Plus advertisers are abandoning the platform in large numbers. Now, I need to get on to Marvin. Jonas, do you know I need to get on to Marvin?
Yes. He's taken an L. Marvin has here.
He's taken an L away from Valiant Renegade. Valiant, if you're out there watching, I want to apologize. You are a financial backer of that park place, and our editor-in-chief left the L off. The only reason I'm going to let Marvin off easy on this one is because Valiant keeps promising he's going to tell the public his grand story about why he spells Valiant with 2 L's, and he never tells the story. He's a tease. He's a professional YouTube tease, and it needs to end. Jonas?
No, it's his Twitter tag is at Valiant Renegade. Sometimes I jokingly call him Valiant in my head. And he knows his stuff when it comes to tracking numbers like this. And I love working with Valiant. I'm not here to kiss his butt or anything here, but when Valiant was covering this stuff, and I don't think we would have KMG as a contact if it wasn't for Valiant. So when KMG came in with that information about how frustrated advertisers are and the fact that Disney is not meeting the minimum requirements on these advertising requirements. So the advertisers are either pulling funding or having to be reimbursed or compensated with advertisement on other platforms that are not Disney Plus. They don't care about Disney Plus. They would rather be on Hulu or ESPN Plus, or in this case, if they have the option, they would rather put their money over there at Netflix. It sounds like Paramount Plus, which Paramount is a company that was very close to bankruptcy until it got bought out by Skydance. And if it wasn't for the tenacity of Redstone, Sherry Redstone, that probably would have been bought out a long time ago. But over here, it's showing that Paramount Plus and Taylor Sheridan are dominating the streaming originals chart, which is really not even saying that much because it's really the TV only stuff that is really moving the needle here. And of course, the best children's show and the best sitcom of the last 5 years, Bluey. But now you know the rest of the story. Pro, you're muted.
Yes. Well, I was waiting for you. I was just being, patient and kind and trying not to be too cheeky, to refer to Bluey, by the way. Jonas, you know who else I really enjoy working with beyond Valiant Renegade?
I think I'm going to say Marvin, considering that you insulted his spelling.
Lorne.
Lorne. Yeah, it's Lorne.
It's Lorne, everybody. Lorne, welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, how are you all doing?
Lorne, you have watched the episode.
It's not an enthusiastic look after that episode.
No, actually, I enjoyed it. I'm just very tired.
Okay. Well, Lorne, we are here to revivify your spirit. We are here to lift you up, sir. Audience out there, let's flood the chat with Lorne emojis. Welcome in the legend, the man, and the fan favorite. If we don't have Lorne on, there are very few guests, by the way, that if we don't have them on for a few days, people just say, okay, well, he'll have that person on soon. With Lorne, if I don't have you on, Lorne, in like 3 days, I start getting messages. And it's just not, it's starting to become a little unbecoming of these people.
There is someone who comments on every single video I release on any channel saying, hey, where's Lorne at? Even the video game channel.
Is that Hamdinger?
It is.
I thought it might be. I've seen him in there a few times.
Fan club, I tell you. Look at that chat filled with Lorne emojis.
You know exactly who it was. It's perfect.
So, Lorne, what we've been talking about, and you probably could hear, is that Skeleton Crew, despite the quality, it's not getting any viewership, and it's not going to make any of the top 10 lists. And the reason it's not going to make the top 10 lists is because we just saw the top 10 subcategory list, the best chance it had, and with 2 episodes, it still could not get on there. So it's not going to. That's it. It's over unless we get to the finale, and maybe that will hit. But other than that, we are watching a show and we're reviewing a show that nobody else relatively is watching. And I feel like this is the what would you say? This is the result of a decade of mismanagement by Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm.
Well, the shame of this is, in my opinion, I'm actually really enjoying this show. I've liked every episode so far, but we predicted this. You know, nobody was enthusiastic about Skeleton Crew before the first episode dropped. And if the first 2 episodes didn't hit any of the lists, the finale won't either. And that's a shame, because I think this show actually does deserve some attention, at least so far. I am not wholly convinced yet. I shared with you guys a theory that I have about this show earlier in the week. I think this episode somewhat reinforced it a little bit, but I'm still not 100% sure.
I still wish you would do an article on That Park Place on it, because I would love, if it comes true, for everyone to know that Lauren Connor knew it before anyone else, and it's a fabulous theory. We might get into it a little bit. But Lauren, it's hard to blame audiences for not tuning into this, because you know, when you've been served up 5-day-old moldy Uncrustables for the past 10 years, and now they have parfait, no one's in line to get the parfait because they worry that it might be the Uncrustables again, right? And so that's, you know, no one wants the crustiness. That's a new word. We're going to add it to the dictionary. Crustiness, Jonas. Add that, please. So Skeleton.
I think that one might be in there. I'm just going to say that.
Uncrustiness?
No, uncrustiness. Ah, there we go.
Or crustiness.
Yes, writing that one down.
We'll look it up. All right, folks, we're still trying to get Ryan's name turned green. Jonas, let's get up the super chats we've had since then. And if you're wondering, at 10 p.m. Eastern, that is when our other panelists are going to begin joining us so that we can review this episode. But we got more content to cover in the meantime. Jonas, let's get the super chats up, please.
Yeah, first of all, WDW Pro, give the 5 WDW Pro.
The handsome man. The WDW Pro, I like his avatar. It looks so good.
It is very close to Pepe the Prawn, who I think is probably a doomed Muppet. William Thompson for $5. My reward is seeing you feeling better, WDW Pro. And Jonas, I'm going to assume that you're referring, there's supposed to be a comma in there, William. So Jonas Michelle is my favorite YouTuber, as opposed to Jonas Michelle, or maybe Joni Mitchell is your favorite YouTuber. Either way, thank you very much, William Thompson.
It's ambiguous, Jonas.
It works. Could be. I'm not sure. John S. for $5. Other than a few clips, I haven't watched anything Star Wars since Last Jedi. That one ended my fandom. Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of exhausting to think back on that era. I will say the Broom Kid shot, if you could have ended on that, and then we all just stopped talking about Star Wars, would have been better than anything since then. SFX Sabertooth Raptor for $2. That's no moon. It's WDW Pro Bowling Star Wars Edition.
Ooh, I like that. Do I bowl Death Stars? That's impressive.
William Thompson for $5. You were sending this in while I was slightly critiquing your spelling there. I know you're probably on mobile here. I just want you to know, while I think Lauren is great, but I'm a Trekkie first, and if Jonas Campbell isn't on, I get upset, kind of. Well, I'm glad that you're here, William Thompson, and I am glad to represent the Trek fans here. I've loved Star Trek until, well, I'm going to say the first few episodes of Discovery, when, yikes.
All right.
Still love Star Trek, which is why I hated Discovery.
Did you like Voyager?
I look back fondly on Voyager now, but no, I was not a huge Voyager fan. I would long
Voyager.
for some,
I got to question your taste a little bit.
now I long for the days I would look at what is the phrase from Avengers? You will look back fondly on something as sweet as the sound of pain. When the other is trying to threaten him. I would love some mediocre Star Trek to come back right there. I if they made some Voyager episodes like right now, I'd be like, oh, we're back, please, thank you. Which brings us, of course, to the subject of Skeleton Crew. Packing Protons for $2. Is it Lorne or Morn?
Never Morn.
I love Morn though. Morn, even
Both
though he
the
probably
Revan?
needs Morn, the guy who's got the latinum in his belly and lost all of his hair.
Oh, that's Mork.
No.
No, that's Morn.
No, Mark is Robin Williams.
Mork from Mork is in Robin
Yeah.
Williams? No, or Lorne Michaels.
I know who you're talking about.
I know you know who I'm. If you watch DS9 for any length of time, you know who Morn is. Who is an anagram of Norm.
Norm.
Yeah. SFX Sabretooth Raptor for $2. Bad lip sync Star Wars is now better than current. My kids are singing that at me, and they don't even like Star Wars at this point. I never thought I'd have children who don't like Star Wars.
Jonas, I've put a poll out there. You all were talking Star Trek, and I feel bad for the Trekkies. I feel bad for Star Wars fans, but I feel bad for the Trekkies. I mean, I don't know which one's worse, but I put a poll out there.
It's way worse. It's way worse for the Trekkies.
I wasn't sure. So I have been accused in the past of being very objective and not so emotional. Like I'm not a feely kind of person, right? And so someone said, who would you identify better with, Spock or Data? And it made me realize that one of the cool things about Star Wars and the Next Generation, the original and the Next Generation, is that they had the thought that they needed that person who can't identify with the emotives of humanity. And so you've got Spock in the first and Data in the second. So right now we've got Spock versus Data. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of a poll done before. 56% of you right now say Spock is the better character. That is really close. Way closer than I thought it was going to be.
I don't know. First of all, I'm gonna again go to DS9 again, and Odo, I think, is the guy that I might identify with more, but Data would be way up there. Also, you got to know Data over 7 seasons and also several movies. Do you want to talk about Star Trek right now, Pro? Do you want to talk about Star Trek?
That's what I want to talk about. William
Thompson did 10 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you, sir. You are that moment in Picard season 3 when LeVar Burton as Geordi LaForge looks over and he says, "Data?" Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Well, he gifted 10. We've got to get Ryan Green. I'm gonna do it again. We're gonna do what it takes, folks. As long as you all keep gifting memberships like this, we are turning this chat green. And by the way, folks, check out the membership rewards now, because they are going to be changing January 1st slightly. We think they're better, actually, because we're going to be giving you Patreon access if you're at level 3 and higher. We're going to be giving you special memberships to the thatparkplace.com website. So all
Did I get a membership? Did I get a membership? I was gifted a membership. I'm sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. My producer just stole a membership from Ryan. I don't want to say this in his presence, but he's a cotton-headed ninny muggins. I've been holding this back for a long time, but he's a cotton-headed ninny muggins. Hey, Jonas, we love you. We had an internet outage. Apologies. Are you doing okay, buddy?
Is this some form of radical new therapy?
It's better than shock therapy. Bill Murray did that in the first Ghostbusters, but it's really funny. It's really funny when you do it. Jonas, while we wait on our good friends who are going to be joining us to talk about this review, and by the way, we've had more than a few people join us in a raid coming over from Tooneytown, I believe. So welcome to you all. 357 people right now in the audience for the YouTubes, and we're approaching 600 total across all of our platforms. We would remind you, by the way, that if you are watching us on X, we want to support X. We love X, but X does not pay the bills. So if you could open a YouTube window, even if you're going to watch us in X, it's a big lift, a big help. Jonas, as I was watching Skeleton Crew earlier, it came to my attention. There are these scenes where they have the spaceships flying. There are these scenes where they have these planetary images and all of that. And as I was watching it, I was reminded that everything changed yesterday in regards to, well, you know what? Before we get in this topic, somebody is joining the panel that I was not anticipating. Jonas, could you introduce him? Hold on a second. This is deserving of the clip. I don't know that if he's ever been brought in with this clip. So let me get it ready. You ready? Here we go.
Who could that be? Let's go see, boys and girls.
Folks, it's Valiant Renegade. The scoundrel has appeared. Valiant, how are you?
Doing well. How you fine gentlemen doing this evening?
Valiant, we got a real problem. First of all, Jonas stole a membership and then he gave one away. He thinks that's going to make it even. But Valiant, we found out that our editor-in-chief, and we want to apologize officially, folks. This is the apology you've been waiting for. Valiant, you are a financial backer of thatparkplace.com. You are an investor. You have helped craft this website and make it into the force that it is. And our editor-in-chief spelled your name in an article with one L. Valiant, we want to apologize for that. And Valiant, the only justification we can give him is that repeatedly we have heard you say that one day you're going to tell the story online of how it is you came to have two L's instead of one. When are you going to tell the story, Valiant?
I've actually told it on air before, although it's been a while. I don't share it often, but the short version is a very, young kid, younger than even Renegade Jr. is now, who is 13. I loved to write. I love to write fiction. I love to write stories. And the first major attempt that I ever did at doing like a full-scale create my own story, I started when I was just about to turn 12 years old. And I remember it now. I know it still because behind me, about 10 feet away in a plastic bin, are 4 full 5-subject notebooks of a book that I wrote as a kid between the ages of 12 and 14. It was a follow-up to Final Fantasy IV, which was Final Fantasy II here in the U.S. from Squaresoft. From the Final
Is that
Fantasy
why you're
series.
such a big fan of Cecil?
My confirmation name as a Catholic is actually Cecil.
Really?
It is.
Oh, that's right. You've told me that before.
I chose the confirmation name of the Catholic Church's Saint Cecil because of that. Yeah. Which it turned out to be a great choice because of the character of the saint, the canonized saint by the church. But that being said, my first real foray into writing was based on that. And I, from there, years later, not that many years later, created a story from the sequel that I wrote to Final Fantasy IV and turned it into a full-blown fictional novel. And the main character, and I took from that, was, well, I don't want to go into too much detail, but let's just say the Valiant with the 2 L's came from that. So it's not you misspelled Valiant. No, I didn't. It's something very personal. It's deliberately spelled the way it is for a reason. So that is the short version of the story.
Well, I'll be darned, because I thought, when I first discovered you, and you'll remember this because I contacted you shortly after. I think you had about 10,000 subscribers. You might have been shy of it, just barely. But I remember I checked out your channel and said, this guy's got the good stuff. And we're going to do everything we can do to help you. This was with the That Park Place at the time, which was going well before the original DDoS attacks. And when I first found you, I thought, that sucker has 2 L's in that name. It's misspelled, and he did it on purpose so that whenever anybody searches for Valiant with 2 L's, he's the only thing that's going to come up. Darn it, he's clever. Now I know there's actually a backstory.
I had actually thought it had some tie to the city of Valiant, Oklahoma, which is spelled with 2 L's.
No,
well, that takes us into another story of his journeys through the Midwest.
There is a story behind it, and I will tell you what. The only person, and there is only one, the only person that has actually seen a picture of the physical evidence of this character in terms of the cover of the book is a very good friend, a certain YouTube sister that I've known for almost 4 years. She is the only person that has seen it.
So what you're saying is I need to go over to the Force of Light Studios and start digging on their property somewhere.
I don't think that one is it.
Hey,
I think I have a good guess at which one it is, but
I bet Jonas knows. I know Jonas knows who I'm talking about.
I need to get a map. We're going to dig this thing up. I know you've buried it somewhere.
Yeah. There is only one lady out there who has actually seen this. So anyway, no, but I know y'all are talking about Skeleton Crew. Full disclosure, as I've stated many times, I haven't watched it, and I don't care.
Well, that's how most people feel.
And it is. And I will say this, and not to interrupt the conversation too harshly, but I feel at this point in time that I may finally represent, because it's very hard, is Jonas and Pro and Lorne, y'all understand. Well, Lorne has detached himself from the psychopathy of Disney Lucasfilm, even though he was forced to watch The Acolyte recently, for which I was like, oh, dear Lord, I feel like I want to pay Lorne's health insurance premiums for 6 months after having to do that. But no.
That was our next investment request we were going to give you, but
well,
it's called the Valiant plan. We're very excited about it.
Well, I tell you what, I am not going to give any details right now. There are those out there in the ether who know what I'm speaking of, but I might have another investment plan here for that Park Place coming up. Just stay tuned for this. I am not yet releasing any details, but let's just say things might be about to get a little bit more interesting, and I will leave it there.
Jet skis.
Yeah, jet skis. And no, Pro, you can't ask me what it is yet. You're just going to have to trust me.
Listen. I figure Mike is behind this somehow, and it's going to involve semi-legal cilantro growth. We'll find out. Valiant, one of the things also that we're talking about is this Sora program. ChatGPT has released this huge update to
I saw this, and I will say that I am still enjoying, like, the new version of Grok is freaking awesome.
Yes.
Did y'all see the thumbnail that I generated for tomorrow night's ladies show? Jonas has seen it. And I posted it on X last night. Go look at my profile. You have to scroll down
on the screen, unless it's so risque that we can't. But I'm sure.
No, it's not at all. Okay, hang on. I'll go find it real quick.
While you do it, let me just say that yesterday, I think the whole world changed in terms of AI. And I know that some people don't want to hear this. And we will do the Skeleton Crew review as soon as our other panelists get on here. But the release of Sora it basically means that when we were watching Skeleton Crew and we saw the spaceships and we saw the planets and all of this, like, everybody who made those, they're done. It's over. Their jobs are done because they can make beautiful things like this now in seconds.
Backstage.
And hang on a second. We got to, no. We're full screening that.
Oh, yeah.
That's mini cleavage.
Yeah.
Yep.
How you like that? That is Elon Musk's Grok AI. I said, okay, here's what I want. I did this in 2 phases. Of course, obviously, I made the Valiant's Vixens in one shot.
Let me tell you, Grok went all out on Iger's nose, too.
Dude, I said, I want... I have to go back and look at the exact verbiage. I have it screenshot, but it was something to the effect of, I want Minnie Mouse in a black low-cut dress on a date with Disney CEO Bob Iger in a romantic restaurant. And after about 6 or 7 refreshes of Grok learning, this is what I got. I'm like, bang on.
By golly, that's good.
Yeah. Now wait, you gotta remove us at the bottom of the panel. You got
I did for a while. We showed the cleavage.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
So you've got Elon Musk now racing with Grok. And he's opening, by the way, this huge server complex. I don't know what to call it, but it's going to be over in Memphis, Tennessee. ChatGPT, OpenAI, that's what I'm looking for. OpenAI, they released their pro version for ChatGPT along with Sora yesterday. And folks, I'm here to tell you, like, This completely changes in every possible way, everything to do with CGI, graphics, all of it. Like, it just changed like that. And I mean, I'm going to show you some stuff real quick, but let me show you these are just videos that have been generated recently by people using it. Now, it is prohibitively expensive to use this as an amateur. We're going to invest in this heavily as a studio. Like, we're going to release animated shorts in 2025. But over here on the top left, you can see somebody had decided, Ben113, credit to Ben113, decided to make a recreation of Christ calming the storm. Over here, HRAEFN has created a cat at a baby grand. You've got Jason with creating a woman who kind of looks like a Black Widow in the white coat, and she's going through a glacier. Down here, you've got people at a hospital. You got a very cute monkey taking a nice hot bath in the snow and reading a book with glasses on. That's something. So, folks, let me show you what we've come up with. And just so you know, because we're going to get into this, earlier today in the show, I demonstrated what this is possible of with some tech demos. For those who have not seen them, I'll play them real quick, but then I'm going to show you what we can really do. We wanted to test out the lighting on this. So this is a CGI castle with fireworks. We wanted to see if the fireworks would light up the front of the castle. They do. And then we wanted to see if we put the fireworks behind the castle, would it appropriately not put lighting on the castle? Now, remember, this is generated in like 30 seconds, and this would take a very long time to make this if you were a 3D artist. We also thought, well, would it be a lot of fun if newscasters were actually puppets, since the real newscasters are puppets? Like, this is a great metaphor. And Jonas, I think, is disturbed by this. I'm disturbed as well, but that was the point. We wanted it to be disturbing. I like the Regis Philbin puppet there, too. We've done one.
I prefer the Reagan puppet. I prefer the Reagan puppet in one of these.
Hot air balloons in the style of Pixar. We've also, folks, done one where we wanted to see what would happen if we did something that was photorealistic, but also like a little bit on the edge of odd. It's a very happy, plump man in a 1950s idyllic setting walking his pet balloon dog. Again, rendered in not much time. Now, you have to know what you're doing with this. You're going to have to be an expert in a bunch of different technologies, but you can do basically anything you want. Now, let me show you all what it can really do, because when I say that VFX is over, when I say that CGI artists, they've got like a 5-year lifespan now. Like, you got to get a different job, or you've got to become an expert in this. I'm going to show you all what I created today, and just know that this would have cost millions of dollars, and it did not cost millions of dollars today. And it did not take me 6 months with a studio to do this. This is impossible to do with modern 3D animation. This is a photorealistic scene of a beach at sunrise, and it is not real at all. Here it is, folks. This was created with Sora. Have you the money to do it, and have you the technology? Because you're going to need to know Photoshop, you're going to need to know AI image generation techniques, you're going to need to know Sora inside and out, but you're also going to probably need additional AI systems that will lip sync characters that you create so that they can match the dialogue that you're doing, all that. I'm telling you right now, have you the funds and the time? A kid in a basement somewhere can make a full-blown movie in 2 years.
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, Sora is the new name for heroin.
Well, if Balloon Man is any indication, yes. But
Jonas just got nervous.
Animation is completely changed. The entire landscape of entertainment is altered. And this is the last time, with The Lion King coming out, this is the last time Disney's going to release a movie, and we're all going to be wowed by the visuals. Like, that's over, because it's not going to take more than a month for people to find out about this and go, oh my gosh, anybody can make beautiful things just like that if they have the money and the time. Jonas, Lauren, what are your thoughts on this? And I guess we'll go to you, Jonas. You've got thoughts, and then we'll hit Lauren. Lauren's a tech expert, so he'll have some thoughts. But Jonas, what do you think about the complete paradigm shift in animation? And
I think it's going to be interesting. I've worked in video for a very long time, and it's very easy to tell in things like this when something is. they don't tend to acknowledge where the camera is supposed to be and how the camera is supposed to move and things like this. So
yes,
it's pretty easy to spot when something is off, and humans, generally speaking, are pretty good at detecting when things are off, and this is the worst these will ever be. But that being said, I think it has potential. There are things like model consistency that I think will throw off the things that maybe some of the more adventurous people need to do. But I don't know. There's a couple of clips here and there that, yeah, that's interesting. I'm looking forward to whatever the next thing is going to be. Like, you could probably create some really horrific imagery here and there.
Like that cat drinking coffee in a business suit?
No, that was fine. It was the weird one of the guy in the car that really threw me off.
Oh, that's yeah.
Or the lady on the left where the wings are in the wrong place. Actually,
right, in the front instead of the back, perhaps.
Right, which, there's biblical.
You got to understand, all of these that we're looking at, these are literally the most recent things, and so you have a ton of amateurs who they don't know what they're doing and they don't know how to prompt it. It's day 2 of this, but if you really know what you're doing with this software, and by the way, you're going to have the ability to use the prompts to hold on to characters and images that have been in the past. You're just going to have to really learn how to do this. Like, you can't just go in and say, make me a movie. That's not how it's going to work. This is going to require a new level of expertise. But the idea that you're going to have 200 people working on making buildings explode for a CGI thing for Marvel, and, every second is going to cost $20,000. Like, that's over. That's gone. You could make a building explode in this with nothing. Just do it. And it's there. Lauren, what do you think about this?
So I've got a lot of thoughts because I've actually been using AI quite a bit in my job recently. It's also what my recent studies and exam were about. So I have a slightly...
Hold on a second, Lauren. Hang on. I really apologize for interrupting. We want to say congratulations. The audience doesn't know about this. You had to pass a very difficult exam. And I just want to say, phenomenal job. And we're so happy for you.
Well, I should probably backpedal a little bit here. This was not a very difficult exam. This was considered an easy exam, but that's a good thing. I still put a lot of effort into getting to where we could pass it. So I feel good about that.
Hey, congrats, bro. Sorry, Lauren.
The thing is, I think my take on AI is a little bit different than yours, in that I see AI being extremely useful as assistive to an individual who's trying to do something, especially when you're talking about something like, for instance, creating a custom script to accomplish a goal, or for doing very particular types of research. And I think that this is where prompt generation is very important. And that's what you're talking about when you're saying you're going to have to be an expert in learning how to craft your prompt in such a way that you get a useful result. However, when you're talking about something like the artistic endeavor, there's something about art that I don't think that you can separate from humanity. I think AI is useful if you're talking about, say, for instance, smoothing over something in a piece of art that's been generated that perhaps you want to make look more natural, or to match a particular style. But if you're wanting it to actually generate something that is going to be, let's say, unique, I don't think you're going to be able to do that, because essentially what you're doing is you're using a large language model to try and bring together elements that it recognizes into something that is close to what you're describing. And that means that at best, you're going to get an average. It may be an interesting average, but it's not going to have that spark of creativity that you need to generate something. You can continue to refine your prompt, and that's going to be fine. But I think that all of this talk about AI replacing people in various jobs, it will for certain jobs. Right. But I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as what some of the doomsayers are saying, because in my experience, at least so far, it's primarily assistive. It's not intelligent enough to take this and run with it.
Lauren, I agree with you 100%. If I could agree more, I would, but math is what it is. You're going to know this is going to create a huge delta between those who are good at this and know how to use the programs and those who don't. you will know very quickly the people who are playing around with it versus the people who can make masterpieces. And those masterpieces, I think, will go far beyond anything that we're creating currently with any CGI. But the lowest, level of that, people just hopping on and being like, oh, let's do this little prompt. They're going to get stuff that just looks ridiculous. Valiant, I think it's ridiculous that we have to say goodbye, but it is life. And I know you have a life, and therefore you must go to your wife and your kiddos and continue on. Valiant, what's coming up on your channel, though, soon? And congratulations, by the way, on the exclusive with KMG. You're just doing wonderful work over there. What's coming up on your channel next?
Well, number of things. Tomorrow evening at 5 Central, 6 Eastern, right there, that thumbnail right there says it all. We are going to have our monthly Valiant Vixens show that I co-host with my lovely, wonderful, super smart, amazing co-host and partner in that show, financial partner in that show, Michelle from Force of Light. And we are going to have a very, very special guest. We are going to be wrecking. And we could not have, honestly, we could not have a better news week for this to happen with another good friend of mine on YouTube that I've been talking to the last several weeks. We have been trying to coordinate schedules. The great, the incomparable Kocho will be joining us tomorrow night. And for everybody out there that thinks that, oh, Kocho is a ditzy VTuber with her, big boob avatar and all this kind of... No, let me tell you what. You guys need to watch this show. Kocho is a very, very, and I mean super sharp lady. She is honestly, I would say, the most learned, the most knowledgeable person on YouTube by far when it comes to a deep dive on DEI and Bridge, the new sneaky name for DEI. We are going to have one hell of a conversation tomorrow night. She has been following the, not to get into the current topic stuff here, but she has been following vigilantly the Daniel Penny situation, the BLM situation, all the stuff with Trump coming in the office. We have DEI melting down across multiple industries, and Kocho is an absolute, incredible, brilliant resource on this, and I am thrilled to have her on tomorrow night for the first time ever for the Renegade Nation. Michelle and I will be hosting her, and some of the rest of the ladies of the Renegade Nation that the audience has taken to calling the quote-unquote Valiant Vixens, hence the thumbnail, will be there tomorrow night, and we are going to have one hell of a show. Please don't miss it. It is going to be fantastic.
I've been clipping those, by the way, and they are actually really good. It's not just, for lack of a better term, it's not just a bunch of women that are talking about their hair or something like that.
No. It's like, look, these are the shows, and Jonas knows, like, I pass this off once a month where Michelle and I are trying to coordinate, do it when we can get most of the ladies there. But, man, Michelle has been doing an absolute fantastic job. I'm so thrilled to have her on as a partner, a co-producer for the show. We hope to continue this and to continue to grow it. It's been a great thing for the Renegade Nation. It's been a great thing for Force of Light, and we are moving forward on this, and we have one heck of a fine lady coming in as a very special guest tomorrow night with Kocho. I can't wait for this.
Valiant, all I ask is that with your tremendous and continued success, if you ever decide to go in with Michelle on opening a restaurant, Valiant's Vixens and Fixins. That's all I ask.
Yeah, well, maybe you know what? That's not a bad idea. I will, in addition to looking for property up and around Tennessee, maybe I should look for a commercial lease for a barbecue and Cajun joint.
Holy moly, barbecue and Cajun combined together? Never has heaven sounded so good.
2025 might be a fun year for VR in Tennessee.
There you go, folks. Sounds like a studio complex on the way.
There we go.
All right. Valiant, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it, man.
Take care, buddy.
All right,
hey, you know what you ought to do? You ought to record some clips.
I'm gonna record them in the morning because I've gotta take a break, and I promised my boys at Echo Base that I'd hop over there for a few minutes if possible. So
that's right. That's right.
Go say hi.
All right, I understand.
And tell Derek, Coach, Nick, and the rest on there that we said hi.
I certainly will, man.
All right, folks, we're to get into the review for Skeleton Crew. See you, Valiant. And as we do, just know, well, that's a little close. There we go. That's better. Although we do love Lauren's nostrils. They were just a little large on the... Anyway, we won't go there. We won't go there, Lauren. Sometimes we get a little weird on Wednesday nights. It's okay. All right, we're going to end this poll. Spock wins at 57%. Jonas, before we do the review of Skeleton Crew Episode 3, and we'll have panelists joining as we do so, let's get the super chats up on the screen, sir.
That's right. William Thompson for $5. Star Trek, not Star Wars. WDW Pro, are you still taking meds for your migraine?
No. Well, actually, I kind of am. So the migraine was just one part of a plethora, or for our Canadian friends, a plethora of unfun. And so I had told Valiant I might not make the show, and then he told everybody that I was ill. And then I'm the kind, and Jonas, I know you are as well, like I never say that I don't feel good. Unless I have laryngitis, like I am never going to put, my issues on the screen. I always try to just make the show. And, but Valiant told everybody. And so then I had to, explain, but no migraine today and no vertigo. So that's a positive. But still taking the meds to make sure that I get completely over this thing. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know if it's the flu. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people in my vicinity, my proximity have had it, and it just is no fun. So it was about 3 days of pure suckage. Go ahead, Jonas.
Much like Skeleton Crew. No, I'm just kidding. It's not bad. Packing protons for $2. What's the Star Wars version of a turkey in bowling?
What's the Star Wars version of a turkey in bowling?
The closest thing would be a Pecco Pecco.
The problem is, I actually believe it when he says these things, and he could just make up gibberish, and I would still, because of who I am and because of who he is, I would just say, well, there you go, folks. Lord knows exactly.
Do you remember the lizard chickens in The Phantom Menace?
I do.
Yes.
They're a Pecco Pecco. That's the closest thing you're going to find to a turkey.
Yep. And Jonas J. Campbell gifted 1 WDW Pro membership. Thank you very much for your magnanimity, sir. Ewan Cumia gifted 1 WDW Pro membership.
Lorne, I beg of you, please don't ever tell me just nonsense and send me out. I don't want to be on EBN one day and then be talking and be like, oh yeah, that's a pucka pucka squeedly boink. And then, they're like, what? Lorne said,
what's funny is there are people at Lucasfilm that would probably love to get a clip of you saying something like that.
Listen, my future YouTube relevance sits in the hands of Lorne Connor so many times.
You're a regular Figure and Dan and the never mind. I'm not going to say it again.
Keep going.
John Mayer for $1.99. Can you enable the member gifting from mobile YouTube? Is that us? I think that's just a mobile YouTube thing.
He's talking to Ryan the Gray. You'll see in a moment why. Keep going.
All right. I believe this was pronounced Alful. It's AEW Awful Wrestling for $5. Shout out to the WDW Pro team, except for that scoundrel, Mr. Campbell. Hey, I was there to show you guys how it's done. You didn't know anything about wrestling. You didn't even know the answer to my trivia question about who drives Andre the Giant to school. And the answer is French playwright Samuel Beckett, also a Nobel Prize winner. So
I thought it was pronounced wrestling.
Yeah. When I say I want to wrestle somebody, well, never mind.
People leave when you say that.
You and Cumia gifted another WDW Pro membership.
All for Ryan the Gray, that dirty dog out there just refuses to accept a gifted membership.
Yep. Sudden Creek Productions for $5 Canadian. Disney Star Wars made me wish that Luke joined Vader and ruled the galaxy as father and son.
Yep. Maybe we would not have had the power of many. We would have had the power of two. I don't know.
as a rule. Morgan King, member for 19, WDW Pro. I sent you 2-minute video that is made in L.
AI, Jonas, you got to give it time, man. Come on. Come on.
Gilliam 2.
Wait a minute.
WDW Pro.
Hold on, Jonas. Morgan has sent me a 2-minute AI video.
Okay, well, you can look it up while I'm talking. You don't have to.
No,
you don't
I
have to
can't.
make it so painfully obvious when you stall for time.
I can't, Jonas, because Morgan has to tell me where it was sent to. Morgan, in the chat, please tell us. Was it X? Was it an email? Let me know so I can go find it.
Morgan, ¿dónde está?
El video, por favor.
Gilliam 2 gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Gracias por la regalo. Let's see here. WDW Pro gifted 5 Sutton Creek Productions for $5 Canadian. AI nature videos will never replace real nature videos. I actually really miss the nature documentaries that Disney used to put in theaters. I think they still make them, but they're on Disney Plus, and no one watches Disney Plus. No one.
No one.
Now, here we go. By the way, while you're looking that up, John Maynard.
Sutton Creek, by the way, said that they would never replace, but if you want fireflies that have multicolored butts, that's when AI will replace it.
Well, I mean, until science catches up. John Maynard gifted 20 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you very much, John Maynard. You're the main man.
John, let me tell you something, John. I see what you did. I see your generosity. You and William have done everything you can to turn this Ryan fella, whoever it is, from gray to green. That sucker just refuses. I've never seen anything so disrespectful in all my life. Folks, if you're out there and you refuse to accept a gifted membership, we got to nip it. We got to nip that in the bud.
Now, the minute it looks like there's gonna be trouble, we got to nip it! Nip it in the bud!
Speaking of which, trouble's here, and he is not nipped, but his name is Bud.
Hello, gentlemen. I still don't hate it.
Good evening, Mr. Caballero. Welcome aboard, and you're just in time to review it with Lorne, Jonas, myself. Where is the other rather large fella?
He's coming. He's on his way.
He
was watching around the same time as me, so he should be here any minute.
That's good. That's good. All right, well, let's talk about it then. Folks, it's time. We're going to review Skeleton Crew Episode 3, and as Marvin said, he didn't hate it. All right, who wants to do the recap for the audience out there? Shall it be Jonas? Shall it be Marvin? Lauren, who wants to recap?
Jonas is the master.
Marvin no es un caballero, es un monstruo.
I like Jonas I like Jonas's recaps.
And I can't understand what Jonas said, so Jonas, read it. Tell us the recap.
All right. Okay, so this episode ends where the last one begins. They're breaking out of prison on the asteroid that is run by pirates. They have this guy who it's very easy to understand that he's not really a Jedi. They end the last episode. He doesn't actually tell them he's a Jedi, apparently, in all of this, and he is doing a lot of things that make it sound like he's probably a Jedi. Sounds like I sense many people over here, and I sense no people over here. Stuff like that. They make it out of this area. The little girl with the visor actually stops him before he goes into a hallway that has what looks like an interrogator droid or whatever. It doesn't really matter what it is. They get out of there. By the way, his name is like Silva or something like that. So he's Silver, as in the pirate Long John Silver. Also, of course, the robot.
Oh yeah,
33.
That makes sense.
It's like Smee. Yeah. So there's a lot of little heavy-handed references here like that. They get to the ship, and Smee is not there. Sorry, SM-33 is not there. So they say, no, we have to get Smee. Not going back for a droid, whatever. They convince him to go back for the droid. He does get the droid, but that leaves enough time for the pirates. By the way, the mutineer is called Brutus, because every name has to be on the nose on this show.
I really enjoyed R2D2.
That'll keep the crew from skullduggery for at
I gotta
least
stop
10
doing
minutes.
that cost us about 10 viewers who left in disgust and said, I can't take these dad jokes, they're just too much.
They get out of there, and I guess the pirates are aware that they're leaving, and they go and they fly off to some other place, and they have to stop on some asteroid. And when they get there, they travel to, even though I guess they could have flown to the facility, they travel on foot to a facility in which there is an owl person thing.
Owl cat.
Owl bat. Yeah. Owl cat bat
I
thing.
thought it was a cat owl.
Lauren, is this a new owl cat, or is this a something we've seen before?
No, it's a new creature. I don't know what the species is, but it's pretty cool.
Well done. I mean, none of the effects are bad on this show.
I believe they have those owls in the 100 Acre Wood.
If they do. Craig Ferguson, by the way, since he's a frequent topic of this channel, did the voice of Owl in Winnie the Pooh recently.
I'm still trying to get him to send me that snake cup.
Yeah. So anyways, they go in there, and it's revealed that the guy is not Jedi Nana Wood or whatever dumb name he was. He's actually Crimson Jack. And Crimson Jack has some kind of relationship with this person, not a relationship, but he's untrustworthy. She's not quite trustworthy because she might have called the cops. They're trying to determine where Adden is, and it's one of 12 Republic planets because they have a paper chart here that has 12 Republic planets in it, and only one was not destroyed, and it was at Adden. There's some indications that they are completely unaware of the events of Star Wars: A New Hope and what happened after that point. Lauren, would you agree with that?
No, I don't disagree. I mean, it's they seem out of tune with galactic events, but I think that there's a reason why that is.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're also kids, so if they were old and they didn't know, that would be a totally different thing. Then they decide they have to hoof it out of there because they discover that the bat owl cat lady called the cops on them. And there's a little bit of a fist fight between Jude Law's character and the bat owl cat lady. And then they run off, and before they will let him back on the ship, they force him to confess who he is. Who knows if he's telling the truth, and that he also has to help them find. He makes a deal with them that he will work for them and help them get to Adden. And some X-wing pilots try to find him. Eventually, they land, and the bat owl cat lady is asked, "Where are they going?" And she said, "If I told you, you wouldn't believe me." So,
all right.
So let's anything big.
Let's talk about the two moms issue.
Well, actually, I did miss something big.
Let's bring on someone else who is big just by nature of who he is. Folks, welcome to the screen, Kevin Apollo. Welcome, sir.
Gang, how's everybody doing?
Having a wonderful day. We'll put you up here where you belong. There we go. Okay, so Jonas, two moms. We were told by Chris Gore of Film Threat to watch out for this. Lucasfilm can't get out of its way. Now, my assumption here, I have to assume, and that gets me in trouble. The first three letters in assume. But I have to assume that Chris knows more than I do. And I have to assume that as this series goes on, that's going to be more prominent because as it was presented in this episode, it seemed so ambiguous to me as to not be offensive to anyone. I don't think the average viewer is going to.
No, it is. It is. I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
So it's two moms, and
maybe she's the aunt.
No. She says because when they're going around the table, they're like, "My mom said this, and my mom's said that too." So did my mom.
Jonas, it's an accent. That's how they say it on Adden, right?
No, it was not an accent. It was what she said.
But for me, it didn't bug me because it wasn't like the girl, the girl with the two moms was all of a sudden like, "I'm smarter than everyone because I was raised by two women." Like that's where they start. That's where they would lose me. If it's like she's great because of this thing. Just the fact that it existed, I barely even noticed it. But I I understand putting it in a kid's show, though. It raises questions and that you're not ready to answer from your kids, maybe, and it forces those issues to be raised in households that don't want them. So I understand both sides of the situation.
Well, my assumption is that it's going to be more prominent as we go forward. What I would say is it's just unnecessary when you're Lucasfilm and you're trying to get a win back and you're making a kid's show. This is a kid's show. This is Goonies in space. So it's like they are putting the ideology, they're putting the political, whatever, the partisanship that they have in front of the business. And maybe they think they're on the right side of history, so they should do it no matter what, right? So viewership be darned, danged. I don't know how to say that without saying the other word. Whatever. Anyway, they put that in front of the financials. So this is just one of those things that it's kind of like, you didn't have to do this. You're only doing it because of your ideology. And there's nothing, like, it doesn't gain you anything. The only people still watching Star Wars are the people who already agree with you on this stuff. And if you had one single show where this wasn't in it, then you wouldn't have moderates and conservatives, having to screen the thing every episode. Now, this is going to be in the headlines on various places, and it's going to suggest to people, I'm not going to let my kids watch it. It's more of that Star Wars crap. And otherwise, minus this, it's a fantastic show.
It is really good. I kind of wish some things actually happened in this episode. I would say this one was a little bit more boring than the previous ones. It's still not great, but we've gotten to the point where I'm now like, okay, but can you move you've shown you're competent enough to put this all together. I'd like this to move a little bit faster. The thing that I want to bring up here is this isn't even the gayest that Star Wars gets. They save that stuff for the young Jedi adventures, where they put the preschool character who is a they them, and it's not quite clear whether it's a boy or a girl. So
wait.
I told you they were going to do that in the second season. So
Jonas, are you saying that this is not the gayest Star Wars ever?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm sorry. When I go in this way, I end up more in Harvey Fierstein than Mark Malkin myself. But oh my word. Okay, so
very impressive in that. And not in a good way.
So I just have to say this is not the worst that Star Wars gets. If I was watching with my older kids that are more in the teenage range, I might just leave it in. But if I'm watching with the younger ones that are closer to the toddler range, I would probably cut this out. I'm not worried about the scary stuff. I'm not worried about the violence or the pirates. There's not that much violence. But to me, if this is all it is, I'm not as worried about it, because I can say, hey, as a Christian, maybe we're not crazy about this. There are other people out in the world that live lives other way. Someone existing is not a problem. If they get into that area where they do like an entire episode about the moms, by the way, somebody asked in the chat whether or not it was the girl bossy character or the cyberpunk girl. It's the girl with the visor.
Right, I called it. I said they'll do it to the Asian girl.
Yes,
I called it last week.
So that's double diversity right there.
Let's talk about quality. Lauren, let me go to you first. You tell me what your thoughts are on this episode in terms of quality. And in two ways, Lauren, let me make it more complicated than it has to be, because that's my thing, right? So one, what's the quality as just a show and just an episode inside that show? But also two, what's the quality in terms of as a Star Wars property?
I continue to enjoy the show. And I think if this wasn't attached to Star Wars and you were just watching it as a generic science fiction adventure show, I think people would like it. It does feel like something that came out around the 80s generally, and it's kind of fun. As a Star Wars show, again, it's not going to resurrect the brand, but one of the things that I like that it's doing is it is actually branching out and creating some new stuff, and in a way that's not undermining what's gone before. And that's something that so far Lucasfilm has been completely unable to do. So I'm happy to see them doing that. That's a thing that should be praised.
Kevin, your thoughts having seen the episode?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm a kid again watching the debut of one of those Ewok movies, on TV, where it's like, yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. It's fun. It could be its own thing. I think this would do probably better if it didn't have the Star Wars brand attached to it. Frankly, I think Star Wars is in such a bad place that it takes some unnecessary lumps. But I have enjoyed all 3 episodes so far. This one I felt kind of dragged a little bit, but as a Star Wars property, that to be able to watch Star Wars and have nothing to complain about, that's a win.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I guess I'm next in line, so we'll just go this way. Then we'll drop down to Marvin and go back to Jonas. Quality wise, man, this is what we've been asking for forever. One of the odd things about it is that for whatever reason, the kids are better actors than the adults, minus Jude Law. But when the adults are on the screen, these parents, man, they're terrible. I mean, it's overacting again. It's back to the same stuff we've seen in the past. These kids are great. Like, take these kids and put them in new roles. I don't care. I don't care what they do. Just like use these kids again because they're fantastic. In terms of pacing, I've got no issues with it. I think some of the visuals are wonderful. I thought, and spoilers, folks, I thought that breaking the fuel line in the way that they did, while it may have been a bit inconsistent with the angles they took to make that possible, I don't know if you pulled the camera out, if what they did actually could be done, that required certain angles they were viewing it. But I thought it was ingenious, and I was like, hey, this is something, and I could be wrong, Lauren could correct me. I thought, this is something we haven't seen before. This is a new escape, scheme that's been set up for us. We've got a new problem. We've got a new solution, and that's really cool. Jumping into hyperspace to break the line was cool. And the owl cat lady, I got to say at first, I groaned at first. I bet all of you did too. Because when it first happened, I thought, no, they put the freaking owls that Filoni's obsessed with in here. Like, here we go.
I wasn't thinking about that.
But then it wasn't.
I hadn't even thought of it.
Well,
I thought it was an owl bat, by the way.
See, I've been studying under Lorne, so I've become, I'm up to like a green belt now.
I would say there is not an owl cat that has previously appeared, but there are other bird creatures that are highly associated with pirates on Rishi. And that's Dexter mentions the Rishi maze in Attack of the Clones, but they also appear in the Old Republic. So if you're looking for something that's kind of analogous, that's the closest thing that I would come to.
So I would say that we continue to be in the territory of this being better than anything and everything other than the last 2 episodes of The Mandalorian Season 2 in terms of, since Kathleen Kennedy has been in charge of Lucasfilm, this is the best we have had outside of those last 2 episodes of Mandalorian Season 2. That's where I'm at right now. Marvin?
Yeah, so I thought this was a lot of fun. Yes, did it drag a couple places? Sure. The only times where I was like, oh, can we move on is when we were with the parents. I don't care. Like the parents are the just the B story in this that I can do without. It's to the point where I'm just kind of like, the kids are so much more compelling in this show, and they're better actors than the parents. I don't need to be dealing with whatever's going on the planet. The adventure with the kids is so much more fun. And when the kids got to get up in the gunner seats and they were fine, like, that was pure joy. That was a fun scene. I had a smile on my face. I really liked it. I imagine, what would it be like as a kid to be all of a sudden behind the gunner position of a starship like that? We all, imagined it watching New Hope for the first time. I even thought that the one that I thought was a girl boss in the last one is this episode. I kind of liked the way they presented her. I kind of let my guard down a little bit more, and I was like, oh, she's a brat. Like, that's what this is. She's purposely being presented as a brat, and she's going to have to learn to be a team player as we go along here. Which like that. Opposite. It will show growth.
That's the opposite of how strong female characters have been presented in the past. So the idea that she's going to have to work with a team it's like, wow, where was this for the last decade in Lucasfilm projects? So we'll go with that, eh?
Right, and this is actually what I was trying to get to last week when I was talking about the arcs, is that you can see what the arcs for these characters are supposed to be, and so far, they're staying faithful to it, and that's a good thing. There are a reason that storytelling tropes exist. It's that they work, and you can look at them as a cliche, but there's a reason that cliches become cliches. It's because they work on the audience. That's what you want.
I don't know, Lauren, have you given your theory yet on what you think is going on with the planet, or are you saving that for later?
We're trying to save that for an article. Marvin, you're in charge of the website. We're trying to make the website big with this. Come on, man.
Okay, you're right.
All right. Do you want to preview it? Do you want to just give a taste?
I think it needs to be more
I think
than
you
a
should
taste.
keep your big maw shut.
Yeah.
I think that we actually need to talk about it because if I'm right, it is the flaw in the show, and it's the thing that will make people angry if I'm right.
Oh, no.
So I noticed.
Are you spilling the beans right now? Because I think we should separate this out just a little bit.
You want to give Jonas give you a review and then
let me give my basic thoughts here on this. This is so much better shot than anything that we've seen out of television Lucasfilm for a long time. Acolyte was so bad. It was so poorly done. The dialogue was awful. And we've gotten to a point where we're judging this show not just based off of the fact that they've gotten the show together and everyone is delivering their lines well. That's a standard that we have not been able to set before we actually talk about this for a very long time, because the Acolyte was so bad and so cringy and the dialogue was so flat that we were praising Lee Jung-jae for the fact that he said his lines correctly, having learned enough English to say it. We were praising him for the fact that he delivered the lines correctly.
And now he says we were mean old, bad old bullies to Leslie Headland. It's like, well,
Right.
Lee Jung-jae, we gave you what we could. You're
Right. So then we can talk about this show and the pacing and things like that. I think this is something that if it were a movie, and Space Montana looks great, it looks interesting, but this feels more like a George Lucas, Steven Spielberg collaboration to me than it does a Star Wars show. I think the pacing is a little weird. This is the kind of thing that you would have a quick shot of them getting there to that planet, and then you would have the conversation that happened in there, and there would need to be some musical swell moment, and then they run. This whole thing should take about 10 minutes of a movie instead of taking 37 minutes of runtime on Disney Plus. But that being said, they've at least got enough that it has my attention. I am less interested in the next episode than I was with the previous episode. This needs to go somewhere at this point, but right now, judging this just based off of its merits, this is not bad, at least, and I can see that spirit of adventure that would appeal to children. But because it's Lucasfilm and they're putting in things that kind of make me roll my eyes a little bit here, I'm not gonna enjoy this with my kids until I can fully understand where they're going with this and confirm to me that they're not doing a second season of it. I might even cut a couple of scenes out of it because I have that ability. But yeah,
all right.
I'm not doing final review here, so
before Lorne spills the magic beans, let's get our score, folks, because we do this and we got to do it again, so we got to do our score of the episode. So we're going to go around the horn. You all give me a numerical score. Jonas will give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, and then we'll figure out what that exactly meant. So final score for episode 3. Lauren, we'll start with you. Where do you land on a scale of 0 to 10? 10 is the best thing you've ever seen. 5 is average. 0 is hot garbage.
7 for me.
Okay. Kevin Apollo, what say you?
I guess 7.5.
All right. I give it an 8.5. Marvin?
I'm going to go, I really like this. I'm going to go with an 8.
Jonas?
As a kid's show, thumbs down. As a show that a grown adult with no indoctrination involved, thumbs up.
Jonas, what? Why must you complicate this?
What? If it's a kid show, it's a no.
You said you wanted it so simple that it's just a thumbs up or thumbs down emoji for you. And by golly, you gave us 2 emojis that we now have to deal with.
Well, if Disney will make up their mind about whether this is a kid series or not, then I would be a lot more okay with it. There are no toys for this out on the shelves, so I guess it's for adults.
I have triangulated. I have triangulated, Jonas, your score. You gave it a thumbs down and you gave it a thumbs up. The middle of that is a 5. So you're giving it a 5. Okay.
I'll give it a 5. How about that? Yeah.
All right. Folks, we're at a 7.2 for the episode 3, which is not bad at all. I think last week we're at an 8 was the score.
Mm-hmm.
So final score for episode 3 for Skeleton Crew is 7.2. That would mean that we're somewhere around a 7.7 if the score for the first 2 episodes was an 8. So not bad. All right, Lorne, let's spill some beans, man. Holy free holies, let's do it.
All right. So I don't know if I'm right about this or not, but in the first episode of Skeleton Crew, there's a scene where one of the kids is going to sleep at night and he's looking up in the sky and he's seeing the barrier. And you can see in the barrier, there are 3 black holes in close proximity. Well, that's a known location in the Star Wars galaxy, if they are going with it, which it actually has been referenced in Solo. If I'm correct, that's the Maw. The Maw is an artificially created black hole cluster that is extremely difficult to navigate through. But the Empire found a way through, and they hid an Imperial research station there. And if I'm right, that's what the barrier is. It's the Maw. And the only way that you get to the other side of it is through that one hyperspace route that was guarded by a Star Destroyer in Solo. If I'm right, then the great work that they're talking about is not for the Republic. And there's a reason why they don't want to communicate with the Republic. And there's a reason why the citizens of this planet don't know about what happened in the war. All of these actuaries and scientists and people that are working on these very technical things, if I'm right, are working to help design Starkiller Base. And that's the twist, is that would be tying it into the sequel trilogy, and there we are back there again. They are citizens who think they're doing something for the Republic, but they're actually working for the First Order.
Okay, so here's where I see some very serious credibility to that. So Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have never given us any indication that they plan to retcon the sequel trilogy. I think that what Lucasfilm wants Phony Baloney Filoni to do is they want him to do for Disney what he did for George with the prequels. Filoni came in for the prequels and he gave a compelling backstory that filled in the gaps and made the prequels stronger, knowing the full story than they were as standalone films. And so Disney wants him to do that again with the woefully flawed sequels, which I think are so flawed that you just have to get rid of them. I don't think that Star Wars can continue and be, have any kind of fan base until you get rid of the sequel trilogy. I don't say that from a hardline, I got to have this be my canon. I want this to be my character. I say that from a business standpoint. Like, I think financially, this franchise goes nowhere so long as the sequels exist. They're that bad. Lorne, I think, though, Disney is determined, and Favreau and Filoni, I don't think that, they're not going to rock the boat. And I don't sense that they're there to fix the sequel trilogy. I don't sense they're there to retcon the sequel trilogy. And if you're right, Skeleton Crew, despite the high quality, is designed as a way to justify and to augment the sequel trilogy even more. And that will, I think, cause this show that has no viewers to be a very sour piece, a very sour grape in a cluster of Star Wars cluster ups. And I have to say, Lauren, that if that's what they do, I mean, I'll have to reject this show as well, because I don't want any part of the sequel trilogy.
Well, this is kind of why I threw out the theory last week, and I wasn't real solid on it, but I can't help but notice that they made a point this week of asking, what do all of our parents actually do?
The great work.
And when you think about it, it also explains all of the pirates in the vicinity, because the maw going through that nebula is how you make the Kessel Run. Kessel is the big planet full of spice. I saw somebody asking that in the chat there, and yes, Kessel is where Glitterstim spice comes from. But there's other routes through the maw, and one of those routes in Solo, you see a Star Destroyer guarding it. That route, if you can find it, would go to the Imperial Research Station, where in the old EU, a Death Star prototype was created. And it was actually where Governor Tarkin's lover, Admiral Dala, was stationed. So I don't think they're probably going to adapt any of that stuff. But if I'm right, they're taking some of the ideas and they're just sort of molding it into what their version of Star Wars is. And that would tie into Starkiller Base.
Well, and
of course, in this version, they're going to make Admiral Dala into a dude, I'm sure.
You know, Starkiller Base is also just such a dud. It's just such a dumb thing. It could have been cool. It wasn't. And, you know, this is just more trying to make a square wheel function on a vehicle that just needs some, you know, it just needs some freaking tires. And I'm tired of watching them try to make this thing with square wheels move. It's not going to do it. And I guess it's, you know, one of the sad things about it is this has such potential. We've watched 3 episodes. We're giving it positive reviews. But if it's there to justify something that's terrible, then, you know, what are we going to do at the end other than say, well, you used it as a vehicle to justify absolute junk. And nobody wants to do that. It's a bunch of bunk. Kevin, Marvin, any thoughts on whether or not Lorne might be right with this? We're going to call it the Lorne theory.
Yeah, I agree, actually, with Lorne. When I watched the first episode and I'm listening to the parents discuss their jobs, it kind of struck me as some weird de facto post-cultural revolution caste system, and that's never a good thing. You know, I can't remember the main kid's name, but like, the kid's desire to go out and adventure and help people versus become a mindless bureaucrat. I'm like, okay, we set the ground rules pretty hard here. So it's clear that I think the parents are unknowingly up to no good, and there's going to be a twist here later when we decide to go back home. But I didn't catch the 3 black holes. But now that she said it, I'm like, oh, okay.
It's important to notice also that they have all these security droids around everywhere who are also not just keeping track of the children, but keeping track of the parents as well. And it's kind of weird that there's all of these kids. Now, granted, it's a kid-centric show, but relatively few adults that we have seen so far. And a society that decides that kids that are around 9 years old are going to be taking a test to determine their life path. That sounds an awful lot more like a top-down kind of system like the Empire than a bottom-up system like the Republic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the second I heard this theory from Lorne, you know, I had heard it privately in a private message, and I said, I think that's brilliant. Like, I mean, I don't think that it's brilliant like on the part of Lucasfilm. I think it's brilliant on the part of Lorne to put that together because it makes sense. It's got something to do with something insidious. The fact that now the droid is like, you know, they passed the barrier, we can't go after them. That's not a thing that you do just because you're hoarding treasure. This is something that has to be hidden. I think you might. Yeah, I think you're going to have. I think someone will be there from the sequel trilogy, which again I think is a mistake because again, all roads lead to Jake Skywalker, and that is where Star Wars goes to die.
You know what's funny to me is that actually, if they could somehow have a little destruction at Atten, that would work really well from a cinematic level. Maybe if they had some AT-ATs in at Atten, actually trouncing through space Montana, there, I think that would actually be really good imagery from a cinematic standpoint.
Well, if they do destroy it, I recommend that anybody who wants to survive, they jump in a fridge.
That makes sense.
Yep. Let it settle in, folks. Just remember what Lucasfilm has done to us. All right. Well, let's get going with some super chats. Jonas, in fact, you're working on something behind the scenes. Let me read the super chats for you. Is that okay? Can I do that?
You're going to have to interrupt yourself, though.
All right, Master of Puppets. And guess what, folks? We've got some Super Jam Muppet. No, it's not going to work. Master of Puppets.
All right, real quick, we want to run on to the next story here.
Oh, no. Oh, no. My own medicine. Hoisted by my own petard. All right. Master of Puppets has gifted a WDW Pro membership in the...
Picard.
My own Picard? That's a Star
Trek now?
That is a pro membership from Master of Puppets trying to turn Ryan the Gray into Ryan the Green. And Ryan just won't take it. He just won't take it. John Favreau, can't read the rest of that, but we love you, John Favreau, became a YouTube member at a level that I can't see, but we're happy to have you, whatever level you are. Welcome aboard. Also, we've got from Packing Protons for $10. Yeah, that's a Ghostbusters reference. Bob Iger, still touting himself a technology company. You think they could do a better job with the ESPN announcers as Simpson characters? The mouths didn't even move when they talked. Oh, you can't coach that. Yep. Homer Simpson as Madden. Gotta love it. They should hire me. We wouldn't get along, though. Ewan Cumia, member for 1 month. Skeleton Crew is an apt title. Star Wars is dead. Yep. Well, that the viewership points it out. Samuel, it's always an honor to see you out there. Gifted a membership. Thank you, Sam. Trying to do what we know needs to be done for Ryan the Gray. And Sutton Creek Productions. For 2, Disney continues to give Star Wars the swirly. Ooh. Folks out there, hope you never received a swirly in high school. Hope it didn't happen to you. Yep. Marvin's response sounds as if he may have been the recipient of one swirly at one time.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about swirlies.
It's really awkward when you're covered in fur.
We don't talk about swirlies. All right, you know what we do talk about? We talk about this story right here. Gentlemen, prepare yourselves because there is an angle to this that no one is yet taking. And it's the right angle. Pun intended. From Screen Rant, we'll addressify this in a way that you won't hear anywhere else. Benedict Cumberbatch addresses Robert Downey Jr.'s MCU return as Dr. Doom and Doctor Strange's Marvel future. It's by Felipe Rangel. Benedict Cumberbatch comments on what is ahead for Doctor Strange and his excitement for the next Avengers movie, as well as RDJ's Doctor Doom. In 2026, the Marvel Cinematic Universe will finally see another Avengers movie debut for the first time since Avengers Endgame. Cumberbatch has appeared in some of the MCU's best movies, and as Doctor Strange could not be left out of Avengers Doomsday. Yes, it could have. After the box office success of Doctor Strange... Oh, my gosh. After the box office hijinks and hoodwinking and piggybacking off of Spider-Man No Way Home, Marvel is likely considering Doctor Strange 3, and it seems like Cumberbatch's MCU role might not end there. I have to say that I like Cumberbatch. I didn't care for the last movie from Doctor Strange because, again, it was a bait and switch of all bait and switches. It was really a Scarlet Witch story, and it really was a bad Scarlet Witch story. But I like Cumberbatch. But Jonas, we just reported that Evans, Captain America himself, is coming back.
That's very true.
We have RDJ, we have Cumberbatch. One has to assume, because we've been told by sources, that Hugh Jackman will be in this. You got Tom Holland. What in the world is the budget for this thing? And that is the angle I would like to take. Jonas, how much is this movie going to cost? What are they going to have to make in revenue to make this up?
It's going to cost $600 million for each
production?
One. Yes, absolutely. And they're going to shoot it in the UK. $1.2 billion for the two of them. Maybe 1.3 or 1.4 accounting for inflation at this point. That is my prediction right here. I could be wrong. I could be right. This is not the kind of thing where somebody's like, oh, you were off by 200 million. You're an idiot and you don't know anything about movies. Give me a little bit of a margin of error here, but 1.2 billion. That's what I'm thinking at this point.
So they need 1.2 billion to break even.
No. They need that's 1.2 billion for the production of both of them. And then they're gonna throw everything they have at marketing for this film. So easily another 500 million for the two films in marketing it. So I mean, we're talking a massive amount of money that they're going to have to make on these two films. These will need to be in the upper percentiles of the highest grossing films of all time. They won't care if it's American box office. They won't care if it is international. They won't care if they have to force every citizen of the country of China to watch this thing until their eyes bleed. They will get their $3 to $4 billion so that they can say that this movie was a successful business venture. They don't care the cost. They don't care if it's a sane plan. To quote Arnim Zola, the sanity of the plan is irrelevant. They can do it.
Well, in China, I guess they can tie their credit score, their social credit score, to whether or not they go see the movie. That's one way to do it. Okay, so they are acting like Marvel is as popular as it was in 2019, and it is not. But Kevin, the play here is, what if we all forgot about the last 5 years and we just brought back everybody who was in that 2019 thing plus a few more, and we paid them double because they can hold us to that now? Kevin, I don't see how this is. I mean, Kevin Feige's gone mad. These are crazy amounts of money.
Listen, you guys will probably notice I don't have anything good to say about Kevin Feige in general. I think that the second he was left to his own devices, he flushed it all down the toilet. This stinks of super desperation, and they're going to have to throw everything up to and including Starkiller Base to try to make a dollar. They don't care if they have to spend all of Eastern Europe's GDP to get this movie out there. They're going to spend the money because they're going to find a way to make you go see it. It'll probably be like when we all woke up that one morning and we all had a YouTube album we didn't want. We're all going to be forced to see this movie somehow, and they're just going to debit directly out of our accounts.
So who else could they get that would have an expensive, like, I'm trying to think, they're spending the most money they possibly can on these people. I guess they could pull in Tom Cruise. He's never been in the MCU, has he? Can they give him some sort of role? Because you were talking about RDJ, Chris Evans, Cumberbatch, Hugh Jackman, Tom Holland. Okay, here's the other part of this. You know that they're going to have to bring Brie back because they don't have any women that anybody knows anymore because all the women of these last phases didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Brie didn't work either, but at least people know her. They don't like her, but they know her, and we love Brie. We love Brie. Brie, we love you. But they're going to bring Brie back, and Jonas, Marvin, when they bring Brie back, this is too much. Who's the girl who plays Mantis? They should get her. She could come in.
Clementine? Yeah, Chris Pratt. First of all, they gotta get Chris Pratt.
They gotta get Chris Pratt. This is getting
Hemsworth.
There are a few Chris's short on this. They've got Chris Evans. They haven't confirmed Chris Hemsworth, and they have not confirmed Chris Pratt. And as far as box office draw goes, I mean, well, maybe they can't get Chris Pratt. They resolved his storyline, didn't they?
Wait a minute, though. Jonas. Well, he's with his grandpa. He's with his grandpa now. Jonas.
Ryan Reynolds.
He's going to have to be in it too. Okay. Brie, when they bring Brie back, Brie is going to have to make as much money as the highest paying male actor. For equity.
That's going to be $100 million. Robert Downey Jr. is getting $200 million for the two Avengers movies.
Okay, give her half. Let's just for fun, let's just say that she gets half because of equity. That's $50 million, and nobody likes her, but she'll get it because she's the female that people know. We're begging you, Disney, bring back the lady who plays Mantis. Jonas, her name is
Palm Clementif or Clementov, I think.
Get Palm. Get Pom Pom. We want Palm. Give Palm the money.
You know what?
Palm. Give her the money, Disney.
What about Zoe Saldana?
She won't come back. She doesn't want to play Gilmore anymore.
Well, if they're bringing back, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., just bring back Scarlett Johansson. I'm okay with her making money.
Just get rid of them all and have Haley Atwell just walking around talking in that classy British accent of hers for a couple of hours. I'll buy a ticket to that.
50 mil, because they're going to have to pay the women the same amount they're paying the men.
Don't forget about Garfield and Maguire.
Oh gosh, this budget, guys! I'm telling you, Jonas raised it. They're going to have to make $1.5 billion.
All right, this is getting closer to 1.4 as we go along.
They're just not going to do anything. It's all going to be a bunch of people sitting around a table. They're not even going to walk. It's gonna be a remake of 12 Angry 12 Angry Men.
12 angry celebrities.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Lauren, will they come back? Will the audience come back if the actors come back?
That's hard to say. I don't know, man. I think they poisoned the well so badly that you're going to get some people skeptically attending. If they pull off a good story, all will be forgiven. But I don't see any evidence that they can do that. So I don't know. I think people will wait for streaming.
Listen, if you make a gamble, because this is a 2-film deal, if you got to make $1.5 billion off both of them to break even, this might be Bob Iger finally breaking the bank. That piggy bank is going to be in trouble. Hey, Bob, if you're going to do this as your last farewell, as your last huzzah, hey, Kevin Feige, if you're going to do this, I have a request besides bringing back Pom Pom and give her Breeze money. My request is Bill Murray. I don't even know why he was in Ant-Man. I sure as heck won't know why he's in this movie. Just bring him back and have him wander around the set making quips. It's great. Like 5 scenes. Do it. Do it. Bill Murray. That's what I ask. Nobody has any kind of rejection of that. You all love the idea. I appreciate it. Bill Murray can be the new Stan Lee. Instead of actually appearing for any purpose, Bill Murray just wanders around the set of movies. And you're like, hey, it's the Bill Murray cameo. He's wandering around back there, confused. Perfect. He has no idea why he's there. He just likes to
just give up and put Kevin Feige in there. They're already trying to pretend like he's the next Stan Lee.
Well, you know what, Jonas? That's actually going to take us to our next story, where it has to do with poor Walt and what they're going to do to him against his families. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute, folks. Super chats first, though. Jonas, let's get him up on the screen.
All righty. Gilliam 2 for $5. Yep, Pro Bob needs to realize the sunk cost fallacy with the sequel trilogy if they ever want to make money again. Sorry, Freudian slip there.
Well, if he wants to learn that, he needs to look at the chart for Moana 2. It was after the first 5 days, it was on its path to make $2 billion. And as people found out that it was no good, no bueno, now it's going to struggle to make $1 billion. That film, had it been good, just based on the goodwill of that character and the first film, it could have broke $2 billion. So no one will ever say it on the mainstream legacy dinosaur media, but there's $1 billion that was left on the table had they just made a good movie.
Agree. John Manor for $10. The original Avengers have already lost a lot of their fans with their paid political commercial. Calling an end of democracy was them sticking a fork in their careers. They even acknowledged that down with democracy might not be the best motto in that very cringy, they're all professional actors. One of them is British. What in the world is he doing weighing in on American politics?
Paul Bettany, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing? You have no vision. This brings up a real worry of mine. See, they don't have very many women because all of the phase 4, 5, and 6 movies were bad. So, they didn't launch any great women. They wanted to launch Miss Marvel. They wanted to launch Hawkeye Girl Jr. They wanted to launch all of these characters, and they really didn't take off.
And they turned Scarlet Witch into a villain. So
yeah, that was genius. Gentlemen, what if, since her political career is over, they bring in Kamala Harris to play a female superhero? They could do it.
I would rather see Tatiana Maslany return as She-Hulk.
Is there a super Lauren? Do you know Marvel as well as you know Star Wars? Is there a superhero, a female superhero who her power is standing vertical while she's day drunk? Is that in the roster anywhere? We've got the perfect role. I went too political there. I better back out. Too far, Pro. Too far.
I think she should play Marrow, and Doug Emhoff could play Maggot.
Good grief.
Some early 2000s X-Men takes there for you,
folks. We don't normally do this. We have a wayward soul out in the audience, and we hate to see it. We don't want him to be left out there in the cold. Ryan is still gray. If we could get one more attempt I'm going to listen, folks. If you gift out some major memberships, I'm going to gift some too. We are going to turn Ryan from gray to green tonight. We won't ask again. We're not going to do that over and over, right? Nobody likes to go to the show and be told, hey, you got to donate. So we're putting it out there one time. We won't stay on it. We're not going to annoy you. Not like Disney does to the Disney family. Folks, here's the story. Walt Disney animatronic opening date announced despite granddaughter's objections. This is out of thatparkplace.com by Marvin Montanaro. You got to see it to believe it. Here's what it says. And by the way, this is a great advertisement at the bottom for this article. Gold Bond, you have won. You have won with that one. And Disney is also sponsoring this article. Good job, Disney. Disney will roll out its first ever Walt Disney animatronic figure as part of its new show, Walt Disney, A Magical Life, this spring. By the way, Marvin, you don't know this, I don't think. I got a message earlier that on thatparkplace.com, there was a new advertiser who was wanting to bid on the advertisements. Maybe it was Disney. I don't know if it was Disney or Gold Bond, but who knows? The company has officially announced that the show will debut in the Main Street Opera House at Disneyland on May 16th, 2025. The attraction will feature a cinematic presentation followed by an animatronic Walt addressing the audience from his office. It will occupy the Main Street Opera House exclusively for the initial rollout before playing in rotation with the long-running Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln show. This marks the first time Disney has featured an audio animatronic figure of the company's founder, and it comes with a large share of controversy. When the Walt animatronic was announced at the D23 Expo earlier this year by Parks and Experiences head Josh DeMauro, it received immediate pushback from Walt's granddaughter, Joanna Miller, advocating both for her own wishes and that of her mother, who has passed away. Let me read this for you all. By the way, thank you, Josh Harris, for sharing this to us. It says, everyone please stop the madness. Do not let them turn Grandpa into a robot. My mom tried to stop this years ago, and they respected her wishes. In other words, they waited for her to be gone before they did what she did not want them to do, and by the way, which Walt apparently did not want them to do. There is plenty of film so people can see him and hear him talk. He has told you everything on TV show, lead-ins, and specials. Everyone who stepped forward when Uncle Robert's house was going to be destroyed, and you did it. Thank you. We have that protected because of all of you. Please protect the memory and legacy of Grandpa. It's amazing to me that they would go forward as she asks, basically begs, this is not in line with what the family wants. Now, you can make an argument that Walt made his buck off this, right? He took people who had passed away and he turned them into robots. But the difference there is that it was a respectful way of presenting, for example, Abraham Lincoln, whom we have no audio, we have no video. And so it was a way of bringing those iconic historic figures back to life. It's a bit macabre to take the man who made the robots and turn him into a robot. That's just, it's kind of like taking Jim Henson and turning him into a puppet after he passes away, and then having the Jim Henson puppet yap at a camera and say all the slogans of Disney today, as they kick him out of Muppet Vision 3D, by the way. Marvin, I believe I heard you hopping in. Do you have anything on that?
Well, yes. So Joanna Miller's siblings apparently have, they've voiced support for this, or I guess they were toured around. They're all part of the Walt Disney Family Museum, and the Walt Disney Family Museum is in support of this attraction. But, she still is sticking up for her mother, and apparently, based on what we're hearing, also sticking up for Walt himself, who had voiced, which we get into at the end of the article.
Well, we recommend people go read this article too. We don't have time to show everything about it. I want to hand it to the panel though and ask, is this different somehow than Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, than with the Hall of Presidents? You've got Mark Twain featured in the show in Epcot at the American Pavilion. Is this different, turning Walt into a robot? And people are asking, why do you say robot? It's a reference to Futurama. Not everybody at once now. I know this is a hot topic.
Sorry, I thought there was a question to a specific person here. Let me just point out what this is. Animatronics are a tool. They're a storytelling tool. So they want to add to their toolkit the face and likeness of Walt Disney himself. I talked about this on That Park Place, and Walt Disney had the option of putting himself animated into anything that he wanted to put himself into. He could have handed that over to someone else. He could have had someone else do his voice. He had the option of taking that Uncle Walt persona and farming it out, but he didn't do that. He himself did the voice of Uncle Walt because it was him. Anything they put into his mouth, he had ultimate editorial on it because he had to say it himself. And he ended up, towards the end of his life, I think, being a little bit resentful of some of the corporate aspects of the Walt Disney Company. And I don't think he necessarily was a fan. He saw a difference between Walter Elias Disney and that guy, Uncle Walt, that guy, Walt Disney, they always talk about. Now, maybe that was a bit of narrative flair on the part of the biographers, but this turns Walt Disney, like you've said, a puppet. It turns him into a narrative tool for the Walt Disney Company in a way that is I think, inappropriate, in the same way that they want to Stan Lee in the state that Stan Lee is right now, and they wanted Jim Henson in the state that Jim Henson is right now, and they're just waiting around for George Lucas to be in that state so that they can say he would have said this on any number of issues that affect this company. Right,
or rather, just have him say it. Right, George Lucas animatronic on the stage, and have the George Lucas animatronic say,
"Well, yeah, I really like the sequel trilogy. It's really good. It's exactly how I would have made it."
I really feel like Ray is just the best character that's ever been created.
It's not just that they want to put words in their mouth, though. It's that they want credit for supposedly respecting the creator of the company. They want to appear to be respectful of his vision while discounting what he and the family asked for. And that's the exact opposite of respect. That's what makes it offensive.
And while bulldozing the rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island, things that he believed in, that he wanted in these parks, Americana history, Walt was the most proud American you could have ever possibly seen. And here's the thing, though. They talk about, he had Abraham Lincoln turned into a robot. Well, Abraham Lincoln never expressly stated, "I never want to be turned into a robot," which obviously there was no way for him to say that. Walt Disney, however, though, did. According to several former Imagineers, Walt was like, when they were working with audio animatronics, Walt was like, "I never want this to happen to me." And
Lincoln actually did make an exact statement about that 7 years ago.
Yeah, well, I look, between freeing the slaves and fighting vampires, I'm not sure when he had the time, but also in the Hall of Presidents, when they would have Lincoln speak, he would just he would recite the Gettysburg Address. He's just saying a thing that he himself actually said. Now, I'm pretty sure that this Walt Disney animatronic in Walt Disney A Magical Life is not going to stand up there and recite monologues from the Wonderful World of Color.
No, wait a minute.
They're going to give him new things to say.
Marvin, have you seen the script for this? I'm pretty sure that Walt did, in fact, say, "Well, hello, folks. I'm here to tell you that Bob Iger is the greatest CEO in the history of this company."
What should they do? They could put a Bob Iger animatronic right there, and then make sure that other people get to decide what Bob Iger says. See how much he likes it.
I'm glad they evicted those stupid rabbits and bears and foxes from Splash Mountain. It was a horrible thing. That's what he's going to say. All right, well, what we've got to say is it's time to wrap this. Folks, we've had a great time. I mean, I really enjoy doing these shows in the evenings. We get to be a little bit more fun. We get to be a little bit more comical. I'll tell you a story we didn't get to do tonight. On the docket was Woke continues to wind down. Rocksteady ends Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. We'll put that on the docket for a future show coming up. But Jonas, I have great news that I need to bring to you. Are you ready for this?
I bring glad tidings. Yes.
Ryan Griffin the Gray. No, he never accepted a gifted membership from anyone. Nobody can claim that they were the one who gifted this man a membership. But after watching so many receive so much from him, so much, so plenty, he decided to transform himself.
Gandalf the Grey. That was my name. Gandalf. I am Gandalf the White.
You are Ryan the Green. Welcome, Griffin the Green. Welcome, sir. Jonas, I just want you to see that because as we read through, Lauren's tearing up. Lauren, it was emotional. I'm also a little bit touched by this. Jonas, as you read the number of gifted memberships, I just wanted you to be aware that we did finally get him across. Go ahead, Jonas. Read him. Bring him up. Let's go.
Old Renaissance Boomer gifted 5 WDW Pro membership. He's doing his part. Ewan Cumia gifted 1 WDW Pro membership. He's doing his part. Samuel Main coming back in with 5 more WDW Pro memberships. Some guy did the same. John Maynard came in with 10 WDW Pro memberships. And right here at the turn, Ryan Griffin became a channel member at the potential level.
He finally rose from the ashes. You know what? Let's celebrate. Now that guy's just a little too happy. That's a little
Weird.
Let's for real, folks. Let's celebrate. I mean, my gosh, we all of this generosity.
The crab people shall finally reign supreme.
I knew it.
You know what? Here we go.
Now, commence Operation Vacuum Suck. Suck.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself.
A blindfolded half-court shot that is now the talk of campus and beyond.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Did you see it? Yeah.
We're gonna do it.
My favorite color is light tan. My favorite animal is puppies. I like serving the Lord, hiking, play volleyball.
You gotta be kidding me. Everything you just said is my favorite thing to do every day.
That is the longest string of highlight clips, but folks, you all deserved it. Truly.
Also, SFX Sabretooth Raptor for $2. Marvel is forever lost. Minus Star Wars for me. Minus 90 Star Wars for me.
Maybe it's 90s Star Wars for me.
Could be.
Could be.
Negative 90.
Maybe so. Aurora Uplinks with a 3-parter here. First of all, for $5, I have to ask overall, are you still having high hopes for The Mandalorian and Grogu? I hope so. I hope everyone gives it a chance in theaters.
I'll respond to this first and say, we now know that Jabba the Hutt's son, which I'm going to call Jabito, Jabito will be in the movie. And I don't want to tell you what I know about the Mark Hamill thing, but it's gotten better. And maybe in the next week or so, we're going to be able to talk about it.
Oh, dear. Aurora Uplinks for $5. Also, I have to ask, how was the review of the watching of that documentary of a certain conductor of lots of music? John Williams, is it on Disney Plus? It is on Disney Plus. I have not had the chance to watch it yet.
I have heard that it's wonderful.
It is. I would have liked them to spend a little more time on particular scores, but they covered his entire career and focused mostly on the man. It is a very good documentary.
I think they should have spent at least 20 minutes of the entire documentary on the fact that he wrote the first Gilligan's Island theme song.
They actually do go into that a little bit. Not about the original theme song, but they do quote a lot of shows that he composed for that I had no idea that he worked on. So
it was a Calypso one that they threw out. So it wasn't the one everyone knows. Aurora Uplinks for $5. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as we approach that wonderful time of year. Makes me hope we all have stuff to celebrate. We do have many things to celebrate. Thank you very much, Aurora Uplinks. I got to listen to a celebrity talk about how there is no happiness without gratefulness. And I just have to say, grateful for the position that I'm in this year.
No matter where you are, folks, find something to be thankful for, find a way to be gracious and to have gratitude for the things in your life, even if it's the small things.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
Even boulders.
And also that bush that looks like Shirley Bassey. Aurora Uplinks for $5. That happy man walking on the street does give me nervous vibes too. It feels like it is from the TV movie It with Tim Curry. That's the vibes of it.
What do you mean? This happy fellow with a pet balloon dog just walking through a 1950s sterilized subdivision? That's totally normal. He's so happy. He's creepy happy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jonas, is that the end of the Super Chats?
That is the end of the Super Chats, and also the end of me.
The end of Jonas has finally arrived. No, folks, he'll be back and ready to go even more so tomorrow. Jonas, we've got 3 live streams tomorrow. I didn't tell you about them until now, but I hope you enjoy them.
Good. Oh, good. Folks, I was hoping.
Folks, you can help us out. I'm going to put a link in the chat. Okay, everybody in the live chat, take a look at this. We want to get a Merry, Merry Pro Christmas, the Christmas special over on Vacation Radio, over the 1,000 views mark. It's really important. You can help us out. Click on that link. Let it play tonight. You can go to bed. Just let it play and put a little thumbs up on a Merry, Merry Pro Christmas. It's our Christmas special. We would love for you to do that. Help us out there. Thank you so much to everyone out there who's been so kind. It is the season of giving, and you have given so much. And Jonas, I guess we're going to have to feed those radioactive nuclear hamsters their special fancy feast just to get them going a little bit better tomorrow. Thanks.
I think Meow Mix will work, right?
Yeah. Unless it attracts cats, in which case the radioactive nuclear hamsters are going to really not have a good day. All right, folks. Lauren is having a great day on his channel every day. Lauren, tell them what you've got coming up next.
I've been a bit behind on reading Shadows of the Empire. Part of that is because I had been studying for the exam I mentioned earlier. Part of it is also because I've been setting up a new computer, and I'm still in the process of doing that. So bear with me. It's probably still going to be a few more days, but I'll get back to it as soon as I can.
All right, we're excited. Kevin, tell us about your locations on this great, big, beautiful web and what people can expect out of you in the coming days.
All right, well, I've got some some rants to work on for Marv's channel for our members only exclusives, which I promise I will get to. I've been saying I'm going to get to them, but the last couple weeks have been a little harrowing and finally out of the storm. So I will get that, and then I'll be back with Marv on Thursday on what's our show called?
Toonie Talk TV.
Thank you. Yes, Thursday at 8, and then hopefully, whenever you shine the bat signal, I'll pop in here.
Now, Kevin, I managed to meet up with Marvin not so long ago, and I don't know if you know this, but this puppet down here, he speaks so highly of you when you're not around. I don't want that to remain a secret. I just want you to know that when you are not in close proximity with him, behind the scenes, man, he is just absolutely, he just says that you are the best, the greatest, and I got to say that it's a fantastic time every time you're on the show. Hope you can be here more often.
Hey, listen, I love that big orange monster. We've been friends for over 2 decades, I think, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of silly adventures, and I'm very grateful to kind of met all of you guys over the last couple of months, and then get the opportunity to come hang out and do things like this. It's always a blast for me. So I'm always here whenever you need me.
Now, Marvin down there is a keyboard warrior, and tell us what you're warrioring on lately, Marv.
Oh, well, that's mostly my battlefield is thatparkplace.com, where I serve as its editor and chief, and it is a daily war to get the truth out there, to bring you the highest in journalistic standards while talking about things that don't actually impact the way the world works, but it impacts the way our own personal worlds continue to turn. Tomorrow, we are going to have a whole lot of stuff coming up, not just articles from me. I have an editorial sitting in the back right now from Lou Wasserman's Ghost. We're going to have a new Francesco Salbach op-ed piece as well. So check in, not just for the for the hard news that we bring you guys, but also for the awesome opinion pieces that people like Lauren, people like Lou, people like Pro, like our Francesco and they're all bringing you guys, and Martin Stone, all bringing you guys these awesome opinion pieces. So make sure you check that out.
Kind of opinion pieces like, the hard-hitting reporting from Francesco that is getting ripped off by Jason Schreier, maybe.
Yeah, you truly know that you've made it as a news outlet when Bloomberg is ripping you off and giving you no credit.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that we're in a battle with Bloomberg and I don't even know it yet?
Yeah. We
got to get on X, Pro.
Yeah.
Another day here at Pro Station where I just don't even know what we're into. You guys leading me into battle and I don't even know where I'm at. I'm blindfolded, I tell you. Jonas, you got some stuff coming up. What's that stuff?
Escúchame, jefe. Yo estoy muy cansado, Pro. Tomorrow, I will be recording more videos for That Park Place. Vash and I had a great discussion on the Walt animatronic. I recommend you go check it out. We've also got a lot of content that we have been covering on Morning Magic, which is every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. And, I might get a little sleep later tonight. I'm really looking forward to that.
Who needs sleep? You're never going to get it. Who needs sleep? Tell me, what's that for? Folks, you'll get the reference if you're a fan of a certain band. Jonas, you always come in with the Spanish. I really wish you would learn a new language, perhaps Swedish chef. That would be a great language to break into in the future. Marvin, do you have a good Swedish chef by any chance?
It's not my best.
Okay, well, that was a bad...
That didn't stop me.
Wiener Schmierny,
I don't know.
I hope that someone tuned in right at this moment and realizes we have all lost our flippity minds.
Flippity burns. The worst thing.
The machine is burning the floomy.
Floomy. The worst thing would be if they tuned in and they think they've stroked out. They're like, oh no, it's the end. All right. Well, it's never the end, folks, because just like Ryan the Grey, one day you can become green.
Gandalf the Grey. That was my name. Gandalf. I am Gandalf the White.
You can become the wheaty. All right, folks.
You sounded like Wandering Oaken. Big summer blowout. Woo-hoo.
There's your first Disney gay character right there.
We got to stop, guys. There's no telling where we'll land. All right, folks, it's been a grand time. We hope you have a grand time as well. Get some sleep out there, and please, we'll put the link out there one last time. Go watch Vacation Radio, the very, very merry pro special, and help us get that over 1,000 views. Folks, until the next time, subscribe to all these wonderful guests and have a wonderful time. We'll see you real soon. The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are...
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say, as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. Standing man.